What is up, everyone? It's your boy Infrared, and welcome to the Scout Reports. Today I bring you an anime review of Joker Game, Episode 6. And you know, I don't know if it's because I'm just used to how these episodes are formatted now, or maybe this episode was actually pretty good compared to the rest as far as having the quick pacing that it has. It was just like the rest as far as giving us a problem, build up, and then solution. However, it seems like that type of format was just right for what we were doing. Of course, they could have expanded on some more things to give it more detail overall, but in the end, maybe it was because of the agent as well. This was a pretty enjoyable episode as our agent itself had a little bit more personality than the people that we've seen after Sakoma and Miyoshi. For example, like the first agent that we met, he didn't have his memory, so that kind of left things to be desired there. The second agent was just there to gather intel and to stir up trouble, and the one that we just left last week was trying not to blow his cover. However, the one that we were introduced to this week, he really didn't have a cover to blow or anything like that, as he seems like he got to be more of himself as he was just trying to extract his information and get to the end of the mission. So without further ado, let's get down to the breakdown of this episode. So we start off in Sing King 1939 on a train called the Asia, and our cast pretty much consists of 3 kids who are bored out their mind on this train, who are on an expedition or pretending to be on an expedition after reading a book called the Treasure Island Expedition. We have our agent, and we have pretty much what we're going to be following through the episode. You see, it starts off with our agent in question eyeing a man who was looking very suspicious and cautious as he's walking to the back of the train clutching a newspaper. As he starts to tell him going back to his newspaper, he notices somebody else looking at the same man from afar as he goes to investigate. However, when he gets to the bathroom, he finds out that the man is dead. And this is where things start to open up, as we find out that he had a needle in the back of his neck, so he was assassinated for sure. And this person, he was a Soviet secretary who was, of course, doing with politics. Maybe he was having an affair or something. This is one of the things where I was saying it didn't expand on it too much, but this person was basically whining and dining this woman and spending all types of money on her, and the D agency helped him out with covering that up a year and a half ago, I believe. And 3 days prior, he was supposed to meet a D agency member on the train in order to exchange information that he had encoded on this newspaper. We also found out that this man's name was Modozov, and again, he was a Russian secretary. He's been assassinated, and the newspaper that we were supposed to find, or our agent was supposed to retrieve, is now gone. So, however, we found out also that he had a tarot card in his pocket, and the tarot card was the tarot card of the Hanged Man, which, and for all intents and purposes, represented Judas. Judas portrayed Jesus. So we get a little bit of backstory as we find out that somehow this man was assassinated by a Russian group of assassins, or a Russian organization of assassins named Smersh, and it loosely means death to spies. This guy was Soviet. He was killed by Soviet spies because he was going to give information to the Japanese, so he was deemed a traitor, just like Judas. And these people believe in killing traitors because they are fiercely loyal to their cause. So now we have the body, now we have the motive, and this is where the episode starts to open up overall. Our agent has a little over an hour to catch this pursuer because his final destination, or where he's getting off, is a place by the name of Mukden, and the overall destination, or the end goal of the destination, is a city by the name of Darin. So he's sitting down, he's sitting in his cart, and he's playing with a deck of cards. If you go through the intro, he is the person that we see with the deck of cards, or with the playing cards. He's playing through the cards to get the attention of these 3 kids that we met at the beginning, and they're amazed, like, wow, are you a magician or something? So he kicks back, he has a little bit of fun with the kids, and we find out that one of the kids' father worked for the station, so he knows a lot about trains. With that being said, our agent asked, how long will it take for a message, or what would be the fastest method for a message to get to the end goal, which was Darin, if he got off at Mukden. And we get a little bit of backstory. We found out that the train that they're on, the Asia, is the fastest of 3 trains. There was the Asia, there's the Pigeon, and it was the Sparrow, or the Swallow, I'm sorry. And out of those 3 trains, the Asia was built to be the faster of the 2 to wipe out the competition. So he gives it to the kids in the form of a riddle by saying, if you can find out which one of these would get me a message faster or get to a destination faster, then I'll tell you the end of the riddle. So he sends them on an expedition because he knows that they're bored. He's going to send them as scouts, basically, as he tells the kids, if you can find a man sitting on the train somewhere who's reading a newspaper that will be within 3 days old, drop this tarot card at his feet and come back to me and tell me the information. So he's using the kids as scouts, but at the same time, they're going around having fun. As they go through the train and they find the man in question, they drop the card at his feet and run back to the agent, but that also alarmed him as well. So they go back and tell him, we found this guy, he's wearing like a white coat and hat, and he's at this part of the train. He thanks the kids for their help, and they ask for the answer to the riddle, but before they can do that, they knocked over a drink because he was going to buy them some drinks for helping them, and the mother says, okay, now you kids come on back. So he promises to tell them the answer to the riddle or which one is the fastest before he gets off the train. And now he's in the pursuit of who it is that he needs to find. So we cut to another scene and we see someone who is dressed as a conductor of the train going through, making his rounds, checking tickets and making sure everybody is seated and secure. He stops by the bathroom where he's saying to someone in the bathroom that we've been figured out. He had the card in his hand. He said, we've been figured out. Our gig is up. We've been identified. And we can't leave any loose ends. So he gets ready to go to kill the man inside the bathroom. However, he's broken down like some fractions as we find out that the man inside the bathroom was actually our agent, who disarms the conductor and then takes a needle and stabs him in the neck himself, revealing that Morozov, he was really suspicious. He was really cautious and he was worried about being assassinated. The only way that could have happened to him so easily is if he was off guard. It had to be somebody he didn't expect, like the conductor. However, this is where things also open up, and this show always give you a ha-ha twist near the end of the episode. Remember, he said that the D agency covered up some dealings that this guy had with a woman 1.5 years ago. It comes to find out that that woman was involved in him being killed. He met her on the train because they were going to try to get away together, maybe escape to America or somewhere like that together. However, she didn't want to leave with him. And again, they left so much to be desired because they kind of left us at that. They didn't go into any details like, were they really lovers? Did they have an affair or what was going on? I'm pretty sure with him being a politician, he probably was having an affair with this young woman. However, she was the one that was running the interference. As remember at the beginning of the episode, there was someone that our agent seen. However, it disappeared when he got to the office, and you were thought to think that she was a killer, but it was actually a conductor. She was just running interference to distract our agent or whoever was coming so they wouldn't see the real killer. And while that was going on, Morozov was killed, and he was disposed of and put in the bathroom from that point while he was being distracted. So there's two things that happened here. First, our agent said, I won't turn you in to Smesh if you offer to help Japan. He extends his hand to her for more assistance instead, because if this Smesh people find her, she's going to be dead. So he offers his assistance there. He also doesn't kill the conductor, as he says, I'm not the type of person that kills. I just need to get my information. I need to get this paper. I need to get it to his destination. So pretty much at this point, case closed, problem solved. Our agent did get the paper back and he needs to get it to his destination. And we show him before he's leaving the train. He does meet up with the kids again as he tells them the answer to the riddle, which is pigeon. The kids are kind of like, how is a pigeon faster than a swallow, for example? And our agent says, he kind of tricks him a little bit. He says an actual pigeon, not the train itself, but a carrier pigeon, as he had the message or the paper that he needed to have tied to a carrier pigeon that goes off to the final destination of Darin. And the pigeon, he says, along the lines of something about it flies 100 miles per hour while the train only went 90. So it will just barely beat it to the end destination before our people got to it. We also found out that he was trying to actually extract this information from somebody from Manchuria. So did we just get a Manchurian candidate drop right after Civil War? Timing! But yeah, that was pretty cool as well. And again, if you're a history buff, like I love espionage and political things, but it's a lot of things I'm not too versed on. So if you're a history buff, there's a lot of things that happens in this series that you would probably kind of enjoy. Like this by them, this probably led to, you know, like the Manchurian Candidate story. Later on down the line, it could be a play off that. We saw one episode where it could lead to what happened in Hiroshima between, you know, Japan and Germany. So it's little things like that that truly makes this series stand out in a sense if you're looking for something different, and it can be very fun. Just like if you watch Bungo Stray Dogs and you know all of the Japanese authors, that's like a little Easter egg for you in every episode. So this series is still good in a sense of doing things like that for you as well. As our episode comes to an end, our agent delivers the message, or the message got to the final destination to Colonel Yuki as he meets up with him, and our agent contemplates is if everything they're doing is going to be worth it in the end. Like, is it all this information that they're extracting and taking, is it going to the right cause? Because overall, they're doing all this to prevent war, but what happens when war finally starts out? A spy's job is to be covert and discreet. But once the war starts, there will be no need for the wet works that they do. So he wonders if they will overall be obsolete or be snuffed out once this is all over, when everything comes to an end, because they are being used discreetly, and as corrupt as the government is, they can always turn their backs on them whenever they feel the need to, or if it compromises them in any way. That ends our episode, but for once, stay tuned if you haven't already, because they actually give you an end credit scenes. We're finally starting to get some type of traction and overall plot for this series. After the credits is over, we go back to the colonel that was, or the commanding officer that was from episode 1. Remember, they chose not to expose him in extortion for, you know, funding the D agency. Well, also remember that in the first episode, they were supposed to receive that cipher that was the key to everything in this war. However, they decided to keep it where it was and let the Japanese army deal with it themselves. So this commanding officer found the cipher, and he turns it into his commanding officer, and he mentions a slip up. He says, you know, the D agency, they're doing their own thing right now. They didn't retrieve the cipher, and right then they knew that someone was on this train, and they chose to not kill them. Instead, they let them go free as long as they got what they want. So the Japanese government is seeing these two critical events as mess ups on the D agency, and now the order for them by this character that we don't see. And if he's somebody that's familiar, please let me know in the comments, but I don't quite remember him. But he did turn the cipher into another commanding officer who now says, well, we can wash our hands of them now, as he makes an order for the D agency to be executed. So coming in halfway into the end of the series, we're finally getting an overarching plot, and maybe here is when we're either going to see that betrayal that I'm thinking we're probably going to get from one of the agents, or a death of one of the agents. It's just not going to end well. It can't. I mean, a spy espionage series can't always end squeaky clean. So it got me a little bit hyped to look for the rest of the episode. However, I can understand people probably got off the train right now because of the pacing. So that was it. You guys, let me know what you thought of the episodes in the comments. If you liked it overall, are you okay with the pacing? Have you dropped it all together, but maybe this gave you more interest to put it back up? I know this has pretty much piqued my interest with that end credit scene, as I look forward to where it's going to go overall. And I'm going to go ahead and end it here. As I always say, you guys can be anywhere on YouTube right now, but you chose to listen to me, and I really appreciate that. And if you liked the video, again, go ahead and drop it a like. And if you want to hear more, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, as I bring you guys more content, and I upload almost every day in this awesome spring season right now. Be sure to join me tomorrow as well, as I review Bungo Stray Dogs. So on that note, it's your boy Infrared with the Scott Report signing out. See you soon.